Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, traders. Wherever you are in the world, I hope you're all well and I hope you're all enjoying your weekend. Pips of Persia here, coming to you with another weekly market outlook video, preparing you for the trading week of 13th of May 2019 to 19th of May 2019. Now, before we get started, as usual, disclaimers. These setups are purely for educational purposes and by no means require any action. Your capital is at risk, therefore, never risk more than what you are willing to lose. Past profits do not guarantee future results. Before we kind of go ahead and get started, I have actually started to post some charts on the Tradingview, the UK version of Tradingview. So if you, I'll leave the link in the description as well, but if you go ahead and visit uk.tradingview.com and simply just search for people and Pips of Persia as one word, it will actually bring up my channel, my kind of whatever you want to call it really, my profile for Tradingview. I've posted some of the weighted indices that I have analyzed, such as what I expect to happen for US dollar as a currency, what I expect to happen for Japanese yen as a currency, for New Zealand dollar as a currency, and Australian dollar as a currency. So these are the weighted indices that I have analyzed and that I'll leave the link in the description for this kind of profile. So you guys can go ahead and have a look at the weighted indices. I'm not going to be covering that in the video. From the pairs that I'll be looking at, please make sure to take notes, take screenshots, whatever you guys are more comfortable with. And as usual, please only stick to your own analysis. There's no need to see my analysis as better or more correct as yours. The best way for you to learn is to stick to your own analysis. Now, let's have a look at the economical calendar for the coming week. The most kind of important news that I'm looking forward to for this trading week is the speech that we have over here for Canadian dollar, because I believe this speech will be quite a very, very key point for Canadian dollar, whether the Canadian dollar is going to continue its move up. If you remember, I was bullish on Canadian dollar as a currency, or if this speech will actually potentially make the Canadian dollar go bearish. So I'll be looking forward to this news. Regarding the other news that we have over here, nothing special that much for me to look forward to them. All I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure my trades are safe against the news that we have over here. So I'm just going to remember what time we have the news for what currency and make sure my news are safe against my trades are safe against the news. On top of that, remember that the Australian dollar, the news that we have over here, it will be correlated to New Zealand dollar as well. So you make sure your New Zealand dollar trades are as safe, or just as safe as Australian dollar before the news. Now, let's go ahead and jump on some of the currency pairs that I have analyzed. To start with Australian dollar versus Japanese yen, the detailed description of how comes I'm bullish on Australian dollar and how comes I'm bearish on Japanese yen, again, as explained, it is covered in the on my UK Tradingview link in description. But this is, in my opinion, a very, very perfect opportunity to buy into AUD/JPY. Potentially this week the market will be opening with some gaps as well. If that's the case, I will be recording a new video on Monday and I will be putting that on my Telegram channel. Again, link in the description, make sure you to join that. I would assume we will have some gaps because of the trade wars that's happening between the United States and China, which will be affecting Japanese yen, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, exactly the same way they did last week. But in terms of kind of pure technical analysis, for AUD/JPY on a 4-hour time frame, we have a huge convergence over here, where markets continuously creating these lows and the indicators looking to go higher. I believe that this will actually be a key turning point for Australian dollar versus Japanese yen, where we can potentially get about 200 pips out of the market. The safest way to enter this would be waiting for a break and retest of this counter trend line that I have drawn on a 4-hour time frame. Australian dollar versus New Zealand dollar. Now, for this currency pair, my attitude has slightly changed from last week. What I will be waiting for, again, on a 4-hour time frame, I have this trend line in place where I have had one touch over here, second touch over here, awaiting a potential third touch of the trend line to kind of react to my key fib level as well. I understand that we are actually sitting at the key fib level now, from this low to that high. But I would like to see Monday and Tuesday potentially the market creating some new lows, giving us some convergence on a 1-hour time frame for our MACD before making the move up. But I believe this could be a very nice move to right to the upside. Euro versus Australian dollar has actually tapped off a previous zone of reversal that we have had over here on a 4-hour time frame. Very clean tap off of that. We've got a shooting star closure. So I expect the continuation to the downside to actually happen now. But for me to go ahead and actually execute some sell positions, I want to see some sort of a pullback. There's a lot of wicks over here, so I'm not going to be using Fibonacci, but I would expect some sort of a pullback potentially to those highs over there, some sort of a reaction, another reaction off of the trend line, off of the previous reversals on over here, to then go ahead and execute some sell positions for Euro Australian. We have formed this kind of divergence over here as well. I believe a more dominant move to the downside is to occur to satisfy this divergence. Euro versus the New Zealand dollar. On a weekly time frame, we've actually rejected this previous zone of reversal over here. We can see that we got multiple wick rejections over there, and the market didn't actually close above 1.7056. Same as what has happened in the past week. So on a 4-hour time frame, I can see that the market is kind of trying its best to climb up, but this whole pattern over here looks very, very kind of bearish to me. There's not enough strength for the bull market to continue, so I would expect Euro NZD to actually give us a nice decline. I have two trend lines placed over here, so a break and retest of the first one would provide a kind of good indication for a sell. A break and retest of the second one would be a better confirmation for a sell, but I'm going to try and catch this as high as I possibly can for a potential sell. New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar. Again, I'm in general kind of bullish on the New Zealand dollar. So in general, I'm only going to be waiting for a break and retest of this trend line to the upside. We also do have this 4-hour divergence or convergence rather, where the market has created that low over there. However, our indicator has created that high for the same around the same zone. So I do expect this to kind of continue upwards. It will be a very kind of nice buy opportunity for New Zealand dollar versus the US dollar. US dollar versus Swiss franc has actually gotten closer and closer to the zone that we were looking at for potential bullish reversal. I'm not sure why my charts are not loading. So US dollar versus Swiss franc is actually getting closer and closer to this zone that we have been talking about for the past few weeks for a potential bullish reversal. It will be a rejection off of this trend line that we have over here. Reaction to the neckline of the daily head and shoulder, which is this blue line over here, and a break and retest of this larger scale trend line over here, which will also line up with a fib level. So it's a lot of kind of confirmations at one point. So I will be looking for a potential buy opportunity for US dollar versus Swiss franc, provided it drops down to my key fib level. I'm gonna cover gold and oil a little bit later on. CHF JPY, so Swiss franc versus the Japanese yen. Something that was covered on my Telegram actually on Friday. We have rejected this kind of weekly zone of reversal, where it's a very kind of powerful reversal zone. We've seen wick rejections over here, and if I zoom in, I can see rejections over here, and we have actually come into the same zone again. Close the week as a hammer formation. We've got weekly convergence and also daily convergence over there, or that was kind of a shorter scale weekly convergence over there from these 2 points, or the point from the past to over there. So a lot of convergence happening in the market. I expect a very kind of smooth ride to the upside, but I would like to see a decline first to around the same zone. Let's say if I drop down to 61 to 71%, then I will be assuming some potential buy positions to the upside. But in general, a very kind of bullish expectation for Swiss franc versus Japanese yen. Euro versus Japanese yen, similar story. Just going to be waiting for either a break and retest of this zone that I have drawn over here, previous reversal zone, and the trend line, or a potential decline to happen first to tap off the zone that's drawn down there for a potential bullish move to the upside. Australian dollar versus the US dollar, the whole kind of structure that we have formed over here looks very, very bullish to me in essence. It looks like a perfect reversal formation where we've got an impulsive move to the downside and we have entered this kind of bullish pennant. We have actually formed a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 move over there. within that pennant, okay? So I would like to see the market break and retest the high of the pennant for the potential move to the upside. Okay, break and retest the high of that pennant for the move to the upside to happen. It's like a kind of inverted flag formation or a bullish flag formation followed after a bearish move. So in general, I'm going to be remaining bullish on AUD USD as well. Canadian dollar versus the Swiss franc. We have tapped off this trend line over here. One touch, second touch, and a third touch over here. Kind of looks like we have also formed this general bullish flag as well, which looks like a very good opportunity for a potential sell position of this whole structure over here. Sorry, a buy position. So how I'm going to be treating this, if we drop down to the low of the trend line again, I'll look for buy positions around there. But if that doesn't happen, I'm going to wait for a break and retest of this counter trend line drawn over here, where we've seen one touch, second touch, third touch. I'm going to wait for a break and retest of that for the continuation to the upside. New Zealand dollar versus the Swiss franc is also a similar story. The difference is we do have this convergence, market creating lower lows, indicator remaining flat. So again, counter trend line, you know the drill, counter trend line in place, wait for break and retest of the counter trend line for the continuation to the upside. For NZD CHF, we have actually tapped off a key Fibonacci level as well from this whole movement to the upside for that retracement to react around the 61.8 area. US dollar versus the Japanese yen. We are within this kind of weekly zone of reversal for USD JPY. And because I'm so kind of bearish on the Japanese yen, I'm going to remain bullish on USD JPY. On a 4-hour time frame, we've actually closed as a morning star formation over there. Got a very long wick rejection, multiple wick rejections to the downside. So looks very kind of bullish to me, this market. I'm going to just see what Monday and Tuesday gives me, but potentially I expect this market to go up within the next week or two. Gold, I haven't got gold kind of analyzed to perfection. But I do expect one final bearish move to happen for gold before we start to see any sort of bullish momentum for gold in essence. So within, on a daily time frame for gold, we have actually formed this general move to the upside and a bullish pennant, okay? It looks as though we have formed this move to the upside and a bullish pennant. Within this pennant, it looks like we are forming a 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially up here, and a final fifth extension over here to line up with our minus 27 and the 61.8 of a larger scale move. So I do believe gold can give us one more decline before we go for the longer term buy. But with all the trade wars that's happening between kind of China and America, gold will be kind of invested too heavily as a safe haven, especially when people are so unsure of how the Forex market is going to be reacting to the trade wars. So it really does depend on the trade wars and how it goes. If they calm down a little bit, then we'll get the move down. If not, if the tensions get worse and worse, then potentially this market will actually continue going bullish. Now, these are the majority of the pairs I have analyzed. Again, as usual, I'll be posting some updates on my Telegram. And now that I have kind of started on Tradingview as well, I will be posting some updates on my Tradingview as well. Make sure to follow it. I'll leave the link in the description. So make sure to save the analysis that you like, but trust your own analysis. I hope you guys found some value from the weekly market outlook video. Again, as usual, updates sent on Telegram. If I'm looking at a new chart and I haven't got it actually focused, and I haven't focused on it on this video, I will be also forwarding that on my Telegram channel. For the private members that I am working with personally as well, you will be getting the signals will continue this week. Last week was a little bit slow in terms of signals, but this week we'll continue with the signals and the trainings. Have an amazing week. Please let me know if you agree or disagree with any of my analysis in the comments down below. Stick to your trading plan, stick to your correct risk management, and let's smash it. Let's catch some pips.